Go.
Hi everyone, it's Anna. If you're new here, I have a stage 4 breast cancer diagnosis. At one point, my prognosis was 4 to 8 months to live. That was 3 years ago now and counting. I make videos in order to spread the word that there's so much we can do to help ourselves beyond the treatments our oncologists are able to offer us at this time. There is hope for healing and living a life full of wellness, even with a stage 4 diagnosis. If that's something that interests you, and if you'd like to support the mission, please like and subscribe to this channel. Doing so helps YouTube's algorithm recommend my videos to others. And since this is a very young channel with only a few videos on it so far, every like and subscribe goes a really long way. Thank you. Today, I have my new friend, Chris, to introduce you to. She is such a beautiful being. Chris has a stage 4 esophageal cancer diagnosis. And if you know anything about stage 4 esophageal cancer, you've probably seen that the 1-year survival rate is 20%, which means that most people with this type of cancer are gone by the 1-year mark. Chris is a bit over 10 months from her diagnosis. And instead of being a month and a half away from dying, she received an almost entirely clear scan. She's loving life with her husband, her children, her grandchildren, and as you'll see in a minute, she's got so much vibrancy. She's a paramedic and has a heart to help others in any way she can. Welcome, Chris. Thank you so much for taking this time to join us.
Hi, Hannah. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all well.
All right, Chris, let's just get right into it. Tell us about your cancer story. How did you find out you had cancer?
Well, as you said in my introduction, I am a paramedic in the UK. Been in the ambulance service 37 and a bit years, and I adore my job. Started working through COVID, very, very sluggish and very tired. I'm a 53-year-old female, so obviously thought it's the menopause. However, it officially really started. I worked a night shift on New Year's Eve, last New Year's Eve, and so 2020 into 2021. I was on a break. I ate a sandwich and it got stuck around my sternum, and I literally I choked on it. So I just thought, oh, perhaps I was rushing my food a bit. Then it happened again a few days later when I was sat at home eating some meat, a meal with my hubby. So that was in the January, February, and it consistently started to get a little bit worse. I just kept thinking I was rushing my food, or I might have a bit of gastritis, which was causing some inflammation, so the food wasn't going down. And as it kept carrying on, and then I started feeling more and more fatigued, I contacted my doctor and requested an endoscopy. As you know, it's a camera down to see what was going on. She was very, very reluctant. Oh, Christine, there's nothing wrong with you. They put it all down to you're tired from COVID. Put it down to anxiety. I wasn't anxious at all. So in the end, after I kept on, I went for an endoscopy March the 4th in 2021, where I never ever thought I was going to get this diagnosis. And I knew when the endoscopist, he actually put me right out, fentanyl, a lot. And I know that doesn't normally happen. You normally just have the throat spray. So when I came round and I saw my hubby, my husband, Tony, sat next to me, I knew something was wrong. So when they gave me the diagnosis there and then that I'd got esophageal cancer, and this is right at the junction where my stomach meets my esophagus. But the endoscopist told me that, oh, we've got this early, it's only 1 centimetre, you're very lucky. and obviously had to wait to see oncologists, doctors, and what have you. And finally, when all the scans and everything were done, they told me that initially they told me that they were going to operate on me, and I had a 25% chance of a cure, where they would go in and cut the affected piece of esophagus out and then bring my stomach up. But then the scan showed that I'd got metastases to distant lymph nodes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And that makes it stage 4 for esophageal cancer.
Yeah, because obviously my tumor was 6.5 centimeters and my esophagus was about 96% occluded. It really grew quite rapidly from they reckon I'd had it for about 2 years. It is a silent killer because it just carries on growing, and then it spreads to normally people don't get any symptoms until it hits the liver. However, I was very lucky enough it went into my lymph nodes. I was told that yes, you're up there for your cure. This would be mid-March, and then on April the 9th they called us in and told me that I had 8 to 12 months at best to live.
And that was with the treatment that they had to offer.
They said that chemo could give me up to 2 years.
Okay.
Palliative chemo, no surgery options. They don't do radiotherapy on your esophagus, so not in the UK they don't. I know in other countries what I've seen, people have had radiotherapy, but no, I was only offered chemotherapy.
Interesting. When I looked into esophageal cancer treatments for stage 4, it said, what I read was that with treatments, you could have, someone with a stage 4 could have 8 to 12 months. That was with the treatments.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
I think the nurse was just trying to be nice. I think,
Yeah.
But obviously I've researched it. I started straight away because this is not going to take me.
Yeah. Oh, I
No
love
way.
that. Yes.
No, it's not. No, I'm not. I started, it's quite weird really how things came to me. I found out that there are a very, very small number of people that actually can live to an old age and go into remission with this. However, the hospital that I was first being treated at, they told me I've got 8 to 12 months, but we did pay for a private consultation with a cancer research hospital in the UK. And I was told by a professor that, you're not a statistic. And I think that is so important for everybody who is suffering. You are an individual person. You're not a statistic. Now, the majority of people that get esophageal cancers, the statistics are 74-year-old men with comorbidities. I'm a 53-year-old woman who's fit and healthy. Yes, I had a big tumor in my esophagus. I found out on a CT scan I've got a small cyst on one of my ovaries, and I've got a bit of spondylitis to my spine from lifting for many years. That was it. So that gave me, right, I am going to be that person that lives to an old age. I've got a wonderful family, son, daughter, grandchildren, beautiful husband. I love my work, and I'm not going anywhere.
You just vibrate life. You are certainly not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, I actually, today was my first day back operational as a paramedic. And you know what it was? I've seen all the nurses in the A&E departments that I work, my colleagues in the ambulance service, they're fighting and I'm fighting. So when people are fighting for me, I'm going to fight. Not going to give up.
Oh, I love that. So Chris, when you were first diagnosed, did you experience any fear, anxiety, depression? And was there anything you did that helped you that you can share with us for those of us who have maybe just been diagnosed and are dealing with all of this?
I still go to those dark places, and I think it's going to be, I don't ever think it's ever going to go away. It's a very, very dark world when you're diagnosed with cancer. And as you and I chatted before, Anna, you know, nobody knows those dark places until you've been there. But I think you need to remember you're not on your own. You're not on your own. And it does help to talk. It's very easy to shut yourself away and cry. I used to cry on my own. And then me and my husband made a pact. We weren't to cry on our own. We're going to cry. Let's do it together. And my daughter, you know, she was the same. Do not cry on your own, mum. So if I have a cry, I get in my car, drive to my daughter's, have a cup of tea, and have a cry with her. Don't be alone. Yes, I imagine my funeral. I sit and I look at my husband and I think, you know, I don't want to leave this place. I want to stay here with him. I even look at my little dogs and saying, it's hard. I look at my grandchildren and, you know, my little granddaughter will chat to me on the way to school, you know, Nanny, this, what do you think about this? And I look at her and yeah, I do have dark feelings and I'm thinking, how can I, you know, I'm not going to be here to see her grow up. But then I try and I really try hard. Positivity is the key. That's what I found. Somebody, a lovely cancer lady who I met at the hospital who's also stage 4, she sent me 2 books, The Secret, about being positive. And now when my granddaughter talks to me like that, you know, I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. No way. You know, I'm going to be here. I'm going to buy, she's only 7. And my little grandson who's 2. No way am I going to leave them. But yeah, it's hard. To sleep, I didn't want to take sleeping tablets and things like that. So started looking on YouTube at cancer healing, deep sleep meditation, deep sleep hypnosis, and things like that really work. I've never, because I've lived such a busy life, being a paramedic and a mom and a grandma and a wife, and I never really looked into the alternative types of therapies, or, you know, I work for the NHS in the UK. That's all I've ever known. But I was very fortunate. I came across a spiritual healer some years ago at work, and as soon as I got diagnosed, I contacted him. He also introduced me to another one, so I get a lot of spiritual healing, and I believe it works. I believe.
So you shared that story with me of how you met your spiritual healer. Would you mind sharing it again?
No. So about 4 years ago, one rainy October night, we received an emergency call to an elderly lady fallen. Just near my finish time, I'd done a 12-hour shift. It was just one of those, right, come, let's go, you know, do what I've got to do. Let's get home, both tired, horrible cold evening. And we got there, and this lovely lady had fallen, and her daughter-in-law and her son were also present. So me and my colleague were dealing with the patient, and I, just because we were in a small confined space, I asked the son if we could go into another room so I could take her medical history, all about what's, you know, allergies, things like that. And we went into the other room, and he just happened to say, I'm sorry about this, but I need to come out with this. He had tears coming out of his eyes, and he said, when you came into the apartment, a elderly lady walked in with you. She's 5'3", a slim build. She's got long grey hair, spectacles on, and she's saying, tell her I've got the wrong walking stick. And that was my mother-in-law, who passed about 2 years prior. And he said other things that nobody else would know. And then he said to me, at that time, I was suffering with my back. I'd got a prolapse disc in my back, and I'd got a rotator cuff injury. And he just said, she's telling me you're in a great deal of pain. Will you stand up? I stood up, and he put his hand in the middle of my back and on my left shoulder. And I never felt, it was just like hot, very hot. And I've not really had a problem with my shoulder or back since that day. And
Wow.
I know. And I contacted him when I got diagnosed. So I got diagnosed on March the 4th. I contacted him on March the 6th, and I was sat in his living room on March the 8th. And I go religiously, and he introduced me to another psychic spiritual healer, a lady, and she's been wonderful. Absolutely. Now, I personally believe in it. It's not everybody's belief, and I think on your own journey, you find your own things.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it's all very muddled up, you take bits from other people and you're just searching for that good bit of news. You'll go on to Google and you'll read something. It's things you don't want to read, but you're not a statistic. Just remember that. Remember that you're not. You are you. I look at it. Quite sadly, this last week, I've been in contact with a gentleman in the UK who suffered with exactly the same as me. He was in his 50s. He passed away last week. Yes, it did knock me back. Yes, I'm very upset. I'm very blessed to have known, been in contact and become friendly with this gentleman. And he supported me as I hoped I supported him, and supported him in, his final months. But I look at it as like a running track. I'm in my lane. He was in his lane. Yeah. Everybody's different. And you will find your way. So yes, I do a lot of meditation. I get help. I find it on YouTube and I lie there and listen to that. I'm a very open person. I talk. You need to talk. I don't care who I say I've had a really bad day today, because I feel I've got the right to have my good days and my bad days. But by talking about it, it's less of a burden on you, and people around you are also suffering, and they know what's going on in your head and they want to help, or so yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for that.
Okay.
So you were diagnosed. What treatments have you been on so far? What were the conventional treatments that you've worked with?
So initially, they gave me palliative chemotherapy, which I started in late April, early May. They gave me EOX, so that would be epirubicin, octaplasmin and cytoplasmin, which tablets. But I was advised that epirubicin was more for hormonal cancers, not for gastric cancers, and it wasn't wise for me to have it. They gave it me 4 times. It made me very, very poorly. There's chemo's wrong.
Who advised you that that was not a wise choice?
This is when we had a private consultation with a gastric oncologist.
So the first oncologist prescribed it, and then the second.
Yeah, and I had it because I just took it, and then when we found out that it wasn't, then we moved facilities. And then I just had oxaplasmin and cytoplasmin, which are the tablets. So that started in May, and in July I had my midway scan. Now, bearing in mind, I had numerous lymph nodes that were inflamed, some quite large, like near just over 2 centimeters, and plus 6.5 centimeter tumor in my esophagus. Wow. And at the point of the scan in July, I had just a subtle lining of my esophagus and only a couple of lymph nodes, and they'd really shrunk.
Wow. So
And
they weren't able to operate the 6.5 centimeter tumor.
no. So no, I'm not. They won't operate. Once it's gone to a distant lymph node, they kept saying it was on my peritoneum at the first facility, but I've not had any peritoneal disease show up on any scan. That's including my PET scan and my CT.
Okay.
But then I had another scan in September, which said I had no evidence of disease whatsoever, and I had no scarring or no residue in my esophagus. So I've got a lovely new esophagus now.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And okay, I have a lot of questions from this point on, but first, how did you handle the treatments? You had to stop working for a bit, or you still worked but at a desk instead?
No, I didn't go to work, obviously through COVID. It was just too risky. So, and I'll be honest, when I first got diagnosed, I just couldn't. I thought I cannot deal with other people's illnesses when I can't do. How can I deal with that when I can't deal with my own?
Yeah.
And we go to a lot of end of life. And I just thought, there's no way. I just can't see that. I can't, mentally or physically, I wasn't strong enough. I was starting to struggle before my diagnosis with lifting, just this like constant fatigue that all of cancer patients know. It's like walking through treacle, isn't it? And you're trying to do an active job, it's very hard. So yeah, I did come off sick. So I went off on sick leave. Actually, I coped with the chemotherapy really, really well. When I saw some patients that, I wasn't sick, had a bit of nauseous, wasn't sick, suffered with horrific diarrhea for 6 months, for the whole time of my chemotherapy. It was constant. It's horrible. Yeah. But after 50 so my chemo started when I had my chemo within 15 days. Now, bearing in mind, I was struggling swallowing water when I went for my first chemo. It would all just, if I glugged water back or anything solid, it would just come back out, because obviously it was blocked. Yeah. But after exactly 15 days after my first lot of chemo, I don't know why, but something said, you need to try and eat. And I did. I had a pie and it went down to the shock of my hubby. Yeah. But other than losing my hair, obviously I've got this funky hairstyle going on at the moment normally, and it's come back really, really curly, and yeah.
It looks fantastic. Yeah. I think it looks great.
Yeah. So yeah, I just got on with it. I never had a summer, couldn't sit outside, as you know. People, it's just horrible. And I just, if I felt poorly, I stayed in bed, but I tried every day. I got up every day, I got dressed. I put my makeup on.
You got dressed and put makeup on during quarantine and chemo.
Definitely.
That's amazing. That's a fighting spirit.
Yeah, I did. Every morning, I got up every day. I think there was about, in the whole of the 6 months of chemo, I think there must have been about, I'll say, a week that I couldn't do it. But I made sure I did it because I knew how my family was suffering watching me, and it made me feel better. Yeah. And I went and bought long blonde wigs, short red wigs. Oh, I rocked it. I put it, and I was so fortunate because the girls I work with, my best friends are wonderful. The girls I work with, one girl jumped out of an aeroplane to raise money for me. Two other girls, when I shaved my hair, they came and had we had champagne, strawberries. They had their head shaved the same time as I did.
Oh my goodness, what good friends you have.
So instead of sitting there thinking, oh, I'm going to lose my hair, because it really hurts. when it starts to fall out, it's so sore. And obviously I had bulb patches and what have you. And I thought, right, I've got to do it. And they all rocked up this one Monday, and we were all in the garden, and yeah, we had a celebration of it. Just another stage in my journey.
That's so beautiful.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed with
Yes.
some wonderful friends. I am.
So during this time of active treatment, did you take or do anything else to help you feel better, to not have so many side effects? And then after that, I'll ask you if what you did in addition to the conventional treatments that also helped to kill cancer cells and keep you in remission. So first, sorry, just to clarify, did you take anything or do anything during treatment to help you with the treatment side effects that you found to be effective?
Yeah, I found a lot of natural things. I bought loads of books. I Googled loads of things. For me, to help with the nausea, fresh ginger. I have amazed myself how natural things really do work. Like the nausea, and just by grating, because you'll try anything. You don't feel one, you'll try anything. And by grating some fresh ginger and just eating it off a teaspoon, and then you think in 20 minutes, oh, that's really, so don't underestimate natural things. So yeah, I did that. Obviously I couldn't eat very well because my esophagus was occluded, like I've said before. So everything was put in the liquidizer. My husband would do roast dinners, put them in the liquidizer, and bless him, he never ate a solid meal in front of me. So whatever was liquidized that I had, he had. I know. I'm so fortunate. So yeah. So really, yeah, just natural things. Tried natural things to help the side effects. So yeah, that would be the side effects, and just natural things. That's it, really.
Okay. And then you added in additional treatments in addition to what your oncologist prescribed for you, correct?
Yes, I have.
Talk to us about that. Where did you find these things to try? Why didn't you tell your oncologist? And how do you feel that they worked for you?
Right. So you get a stage 4 diagnosis. You are desperate. I've never felt the feeling of feeling so desperate to live. I can't even put it into words. So you start looking at everything. Mine started by, I read somebody, I don't know how I found it, but I looked at My Cancer Rocks about Joe Tippins, about him taking fembendazole, as we know is an animal wormer, and CBD oil and high dose turmeric, and he cured himself of cancer.
Stage 4 cancer.
Stage 4 cancer. He did.
Yeah, he had failed all of the treatments, and there was nothing else they could do for him.
Yeah. So I looked at that, and then I'm lay on my spiritual healer's couch or bed that she does the healing on, and I mentioned that I'd read this thing about this Joe Tippins, and she went, I've been also treating a gentleman with esophageal cancer for he's 4.5 years now. He's 5 years now post.
Wow.
Given a diagnosis of stage 4 esophageal cancer. He was given 6 months to live. As he said to me, Christine, my PET scan lit up like a Christmas tree. And he took the fenbendazole, and he's still taking it to this day. Myself being a bit of a clinician, well, obviously a paramedic, I'm a bit like, oh, my liver, I'm a bit worried about that. You know, I'm a bit of a, oh, don't know about that one.
Yeah, it's an animal, it's a drug for animals.
Yeah. So it's like, I want an adult.
Yeah.
I need an adult to say to me, oh yeah, you can take that, not me take this. I did order it. My beautiful daughter-in-law and my daughter, they researched everything, and I went a bit mad on Amazon and eBay, ordering all this, you know, fenbendazole and all these supplements and what have you. And I actually put into Google what is the human equivalent to fenbendazole, and then I came up with membendazole, and I was looking a bit more and more, and then I came across Jane McKellon's How to Starve Cancer, because I started looking at angiogenesis diets, and you know, it was just one of those days that I was lost in Google looking at, you know, my diet, looking at what cures, alternative therapies. I even looked at clinics in Japan, and in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I need to sell my house and fly to Japan and get treated, because they have quite a high rate of esophageal and gastric cancers over there in Asia. Anyway, so I came across Jane McKennon's book, and it's been a lifesaver to me. So I started reading it, and it was quite in depth. I think you need to read it a couple of times to understand it, and there's still a lot I don't understand now. I am about to do her online course, and this, I know this is, we're not plugging Jane's work, but like you said to me earlier, she's the best work that you found in your research, and I haven't found anybody that comes up to that. But Jane's work, not only about the supplements, but also that led me to, just through looking at the search engine, at the Care Oncology Clinic. And I joined the Care Oncology Clinic in London in the UK in the May, and I started taking it, the metformin, the atorvastatin, membendazole, and doxycycline in the May while I was on chemo, and I didn't tell anybody, and I'm still frightened to tell somebody to this day.
You haven't told your oncologist?
No.
Why is that?
Because I left one facility because the way I was treated, or the way I felt I was treated, and also being made to have what I feel is the wrong chemotherapy. However, where I am now, I trust them. Wonderful medical facility, and I wouldn't want them to say, oh, if you're doing that, I'm just scared, because I have read some people's stories, more so in the US, where they've actually been turned away or stopped treatment. But that petrifies the life out of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been turned away from several oncologists because I have asked them how they feel about me adding these additional drugs and supplements. Just asking about it. They're like, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. I can't treat you. And I understand it. I really do. But like you said, when you're stage 4, you have to do whatever it takes. And
actually, so does it mean, in my head, does it mean then if I was a diabetic on metformin, would I not get treated? in the same way. If I had
right, you would
that,
still
so
get treated. Yeah.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
So if I had cholesterol and was on a atorvastatin, would I get treated? Of course I would. If I had worms,
Yeah, you would be treated.
would I be treated? And
Yeah.
if I had a bit of a chest infection and was on doxycycline, would I be treated? Of course I would be treated. And they've all been, so yeah, I did start taking those. And then, and who knows? Nobody knows whether it's the chemotherapy, whether it's just my body, because some people have nothing and they carry on with their cancers for years. We need to remember that as well. Or the fact that Jane's book has helped me starve it, or was it the fact that the off-license drugs, as well as the supplements, as well as the chemo altogether? Because then in September I had a scan that says no evidence of disease anywhere.
Yes. And it's great that you're in this place of who knows what worked, because it worked and you tried everything.
Who cares?
Yes.
Who cares?
It doesn't
I
matter
don't
as
care.
long. Yes.
I don't care as long as I'm here.
Mhm.
However, we need to remember as well that, and not to become complacent. I've always stayed on with whatever I do. But my last scan in December showed I have got one lymph node that was inflamed. Yes, it could be just through inflammation, because that's what lymph nodes do. They go up and down all the time. That's what they're meant to do. Or I could have cancer in that lymph node. I won't know until my next scan,
When
which
is
is
your
in
next
February.
scan?
February.
Okay, so
February.
soon. When in February?
I think it'll probably be around the 20th of February, and then I will get my results early March.
Okay.
And do you know what? Yes, yesterday I had a day of crying. Today I've been out, on emergencies, dealing with patients, with my colleagues. You're going to have these blips. You're going to have emotional roller coaster. That is going to be, our life.
Yeah.
But life is for living. Life is for living. Now, I was talking to my colleague tonight as we were on our way back to the ambulance station, and she said, I just don't know how you to be told that you're palliative or terminal. And I went, yeah, but I might have 10 years. I might have 1 year. She said, how did you feel Christmas Day? Did you think this could be my last Christmas? I went, yeah, but it might not be. I said, but how do you know that Christmas wasn't your last Christmas?
Mhm.
You don't know.
Mhm.
We're all going to die.
Yeah.
But you might go, have a massive heart attack. As I look at it, I've got a chronic illness.
Mhm. Yeah.
Whether it's rheumatoid arthritis, whether it's Parkinson's disease, whether it's MS, whether, emphysema or COPD, or I'm in that category of a chronic illness. Everybody's gonna die.
Yes, we are all terminal. And I love that you view it as a chronic illness, because that keeps you on top of it to remain healthy. You're not thinking, oh, I'm done with my chemo, so I'm done. I can just do whatever I want. When you view it as a chronic illness, then you're constantly working on your health.
As I look here, my life, the road I'm on might go, do you know what? Might never ever need any more chemo ever. You do hear of patients that they have it once, never have it again. I might need it numerous times. Who knows? But the thing is, once you're diagnosed with cancer, you've got this thing is that you're dying. Everybody is. Yeah. We don't know. Nobody knows their prognosis. It's just the fact that I know I've got some cells that have gone a bit off grid a bit, I need to rein them in so I can get on with my life.
So you're finished with your chemo for now,
I finished
correct?
in August. I'm like, yeah, in August. That's why I got hair now. Look.
And so what are you doing now to help yourself remain healthy and recoup from whatever you lost through the chemo?
So I don't do it all the time. I do have my naughty days, but I try and have a more of an alkaline diet,
Mhm.
Fish, white meat, lots of fruit, lots of vegetables, keep away from, carbs, things like that. Just really to become more healthy.
Mhm.
I take my supplements, vitamins, which I've taken from Jane's book. Obviously, the other things I do with Care Oncology Clinic. So yeah, it's just become a way of life.
And for anyone who doesn't know, the Care Oncology Clinic provides off-label drugs that are effective against cancers.
Yeah, they're all drugs that have been trialed and
Yeah,
work.
they're safe. They
Yeah,
they provide.
and they monitor your bloods, and they look at my scans and what have you, and they do advise you to I think when I go back to see my oncologist in March, I think it's time that I come clean and mentioned what I'm doing,
Mhm.
because obviously I want everything to be above board and safe.
Yeah.
But me as a clinician, I'm going to say that, aren't I? However, if all this stops working, who knows? Who knows what's around the corner? What else research is going on, or but yeah. So yeah, that's it.
All right. What advice would you give to someone who has just been diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer?
Remember, you are not a statistic. The statistics are elderly men or mid-70s with comorbidities. That is the statistics. You're not in that bracket. If you are, you are. But I do know of 3 or 4 people that are still alive 20 years after a diagnosis of esophageal cancer. And yes, I now know of a couple of people that didn't make it past 12, 18 months. But you won't know who you are, and my only advice is just fight for your life. If you're not happy with the care you're getting, then look elsewhere. You've got every right to do that. Just don't give up. Life is for living, and it's a chronic illness. How long is terminal? How long's a piece of string? Nobody knows.
I love that.
So,
So you are less than 2 months away from what I
yeah.
like to call your cancerversary, or the when you reach your 12-month mark, which is a point where many people have already passed from
Yeah.
this illness. And you're here, you're back at work, you're full of energy, you're not going anywhere. Do you have any plans to celebrate when you
Yeah,
reach
I'm
that
gonna
milestone?
cook. Yeah, I'm gonna cook a lovely roast dinner for my beautiful husband, my beautiful children, my son and daughter-in-law, my grandchildren, and my mum.
I love that.
And then I'm gonna toast a gin and tonic to all my beautiful friends that have supported, fought for me, shaved their head, jumped out of aeroplanes, and been there, messaged me, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
And we will all be celebrating with you. Please keep in touch and keep us up to date
Yeah,
with how you're doing.
I will.
And you're so beautiful. And I feel like the fact that you're a paramedic and you always give so much to people is it makes me so happy that you're doing well, and that that's probably why you found this healer. Well, you were at work when you found him.
Yeah, they found me. They found
but-
me. I didn't go looking for them.
But you deserve all the best, and I'm just so happy to get to know you.
Thank you, sweetheart. And may I say, my goal from when I got diagnosed was I'm going to put my green uniform back on and get out there and do what I love doing. And actually, I went back to work on the 1st of November, but not operational. Sat behind a computer, which I find is very boring. And you know what? I locked my back door that morning. I put my uniform on. I looked up at the sky and I said to the universe, Cancer, do one. I'm doing this.
And today was your first day back, right? On the
first bed
field.
back. Yeah.
Yes.
When I've had my patients today, it's been I found it overwhelming. I got when we got back to station, I had a good cry because it was like I've won the lottery today.
You did, and yes, that's one of the things that I think cancer really helps us with, is feeling, if we're able to tune into it, that we are winning the lottery every day.
Yeah, totally.
Well, thank you so much, Chris.
You're
I know
welcome.
that this is going to be very meaningful and inspirational and informative to so many people.
Well, if they need any help, advice, that's what we're here. And there are lots of like on Facebook, I found lots of support groups. Jane's support groups, Jane's page on Facebook is brilliant. There's other ones that are brilliant. Esophageal cancer support groups on Facebook. You've probably found your cancer on Facebook and can talk to people with the same. And actually, you know, talking to people, don't shut away. That's you need to get out there and talk to people, because you learn so much that actually could save your life.
Yes, exactly. You meet someone who tells you something that can lead you on a path you didn't know existed, that ends up giving you life until you're 120.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody. Keep well. Bye.